This interior construction time-lapse was created entirely with AI, no animation software, no render farm. In this video, I'll show you how to create viral interior construction time-lapses using Freepik and its node-based system, turning a single interior image into a full construction sequence that actually works for social media. If you're an architect, interior designer, or visualizer, this workflow can completely change how you present your projects. Okay, and right now I'm in Freepik and specifically inside the Spaces tab. I'm going to be talking more about that later, but for now I want to show you how the overall workflow with the nodes looks like. And as you can see, it's not a very long process. Let me just walk you through what we're going to be working in. So first of all, we need to generate the space that we're going to be using, and we can create such space by using Nano Banana. Then by using a reference, for example, I've got this one that I got from Pinterest, we can apply the same floor design to the interior space that we got. After we get this result, we're going to be working on creating the stages for the construction of this floor. So in this case, for example, we started off with a concrete floor. Then we go ahead and start installing the planks, the resin, we polish it a little bit, and finally we get the final result with the furniture. Finally, after we created all of those stages, we move on to creating the animations. Alright, and before we get started, let me show you how Freepik works. First of all, obviously you want to go into their website, which is freepik.com. And the reason why I'm going to be using Freepik is because if I head over to the left bar and then to Spaces, we can start working with the nodes workflow. And this makes things much more efficient. Once in here, we want to create a new space by clicking on this button. We gotta decide how we want to start. So in this case, I'm going to start by generating an image. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Image Generator. It really doesn't matter what type of option you select, because either way you're going to be ending up in this type of interface. Now before we jump into creating something, I want to show you the shortcuts in order to move around this interface, or this canvas rather. First of all, in order to move around, you want to use the wheel of the mouse. If you want to zoom in or out, you're going to be wanting to press and hold the Control key while scrolling the mouse wheel. Like so, in and out. If you want to create another node and not start by generating an image, you can right click and you can either upload an image or select any of the nodes that we have in here, such as text, image generator, video generator, assistant, image upscaler, and camera angle. All of these are super helpful, and for example, right now I have the image generator node, which if I zoom in, we've got all of these options down here. For example, the AI model that we're going to be using in order to generate an image. If I click in here, you'll see all of these AI models, which is kind of crazy the amount that they have in here. But just to go over it really quick, we've got Flux, we've got Google Nano Banana, GPT, Mystic, and Seedream, alongside all of their versions. In this case, I want to start off with Google Nano Banana Pro. Additionally, right next to the AI model, we've got the seconds, which is more or less the time that it's going to be taking the AI model to generate something for you. For example, Nano Banana Pro is going to take around 51 seconds, so it's going to take longer than, for example, GPT, which only takes 20 seconds. Let's stick with Nano Banana Pro because it's the best AI model to generate images. Right next to it, we're going to be finding the aspect ratio, and this is going to depend where you want to post your results. And because this type of videos are all over social media, it's gonna make sense if we go for a social media resolution, which is going to be 9:16 for Instagram Reels or TikTok. And right next to the aspect ratio, we have the resolution. I would suggest not to go with 1K because it's a little bit too low and the details are usually kind of blurry. So I would suggest you to go with 2K or 4K. I'm going to be sticking with 2K for now. And in the bottom, we can select the number of generations that we want to create. And I'm going to be increasing it to 4 for now. Finally, we have the settings. So when I click on it, this extra tab will appear. In here, I can either browse templates, change the model, and I can also specify the type of style I'm looking for. And if you're into character creation, you can also upload a character. We also have the resolution, prompt, number of generations, and the aspect ratio. So essentially the same settings that we can find in here. Okay, so how does this node system work? At the top left side, you'll see this button, which I can click and drag it in order to create another node and start working from whatever content I have on this node. Again, I can select any of the AI models such as video generator or the image upscaler. On the bottom left side, we'll have the input of the node, which we can drag out in order to connect a reference image. But essentially, this is going to be the input slot, and the one at the top right side is going to be the output slot. So let's start generating. Make sure that you are on Google Nano Banana Pro, and in this case, we want to create an interior. So the prompt is going to be something like this. Create a realistic photo of an interior living room with a country design, simple and modern. Now, in order to run this prompt, you can click on this play button. Once you send it away, you can grab all of these nodes and some extra options will appear up here. For example, we can arrange them, we can group them, we can hide the header or duplicate them. Let's go ahead and arrange them for now. And while we wait for them to load, I'm going to be bringing in the reference design for our floor, which is going to be this one. I found this one on Pinterest. You can go ahead and use whichever you want. In order to bring it here, we can either right click and click on upload or simply click and drag the image into the canvas. Now let's check out our interior designs that Nano Banana created. Alright, this one doesn't look bad at all, but we need to open the lens of the camera a bit so that we can better see the interior space. This one could work, but I think the winner, it's this one. It has a pretty nice lighting too. Let's check out the last one just in case. Okay, this one could also work, but I think I'm going to be sticking with this one. And the ones that we're not going to be using, we can just select them and hit the delete key in order to get rid of them. This way we maintain a clean canvas. Now we need to transfer this floor design into our interior that we just created. But before doing that, I'm going to also get rid of the carpet and make things easier for the AI to give this nice design to it. So what I'm going to do is to click and drag the top right button and select image generator. In here, again, I'm going to make sure that Nano Banana Pro is on, the resolution is okay, and that we are working with 2K. And I'm only going to be creating 2 variations. Let's go ahead and write up the prompt, which is going to go something like this. Remove all the furniture, including the carpet, of this interior design. Pretty straightforward. Let's send it away. Alright, and we got these 2 versions. I think I'm going to be sticking with the first one because on this one we have this basket, which doesn't make much sense to have it there. Additionally, to make this a little bit more realistic, I'm going to ask to remove the curtains as well. So again, let's go ahead and connect another node here, pick the image generator, and let's select to remove the curtains. And we have our image pretty much ready to transfer our floor design. I'm going to bring this image over here, and then what I'm going to do is again drag the node, click on image generator. Next, I'm going to drag the wire from the bottom image. And if I select the input slot here, you'll see that this is going to be the reference image. So a little text just popped up saying reference. Let's go ahead and type in the prompt. Give the floor design the same one as on the reference image. I'm going to go ahead and generate 3 of them and send it away. And we got them ready. And I think the winner is the first one because of the LED lights going on in there. So let me just delete these to keep everything nice and clean. And let's start working on the construction stages. So the first thing that we want to see, it's just the concrete floor. Again, let's go ahead and write the prompt here. Remove the glass and wooden planks from the floor. Leave only a concrete floor. Let's go ahead and generate 3 of these and send it away. While we wait for these, I'm going to drag the wire and add some extra nodes in here. In this case, I'm going to generate a version where the wooden planks have been placed. So the prompt would go something like this: remove the glass and LED lights from the floor. Let's go ahead and generate a couple of these. And now let's move on to the next stage where we see the wooden planks with the LED lights. Okay, and the second prompt didn't really work. So let me go ahead and delete all of these nodes and start from scratch for this stage. Remove the glass from the floor. So asking Nano Banana to do several things into the image, it's probably not going to work out. We need to create them step by step. Okay, and this looks much better. The first 2 have added a stone floor underneath the planks, so they don't make much sense. Therefore, we're going to be sticking with the third one. I'm going to be deleting these. While these 3 look almost exactly the same, but I think the most realistic one would be the one in the middle. Let's get rid of these and end up with this one. So we have the first stage, we have basically the third stage here, because before this, we wouldn't be able to see the LED lights just yet. So starting off from this one, we can drag another wire here, create an image, and tell Nano Banana to remove the LED lights. Alright, so we need to fix this a little bit. Let me delete both of these, and instead of the black floor, let's replace the black floor bits with gray smooth concrete. Okay, and while we wait for these to load, I'm going to drag this one down here because after this stage, we need some workers to be pouring the resin. So the prompt, it's going to go something like this. Add 2 workers wearing a black uniform pouring resin with buckets. Okay, now let's check out this version up here, and the one in the middle looks great. Let's delete all of the ones that we don't need, which are these, and I'm going to keep things tidy by dragging this one over here. So we have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 now. So we have a couple of workers there pouring the resin. This looks very good, and I think we can stick with the first one. It looks a little bit more professional because they're wearing these masks. And also their position looks great. And to be a little bit more precise with the animations, we can start adding some extra frames where we see workers placing the planks here, for example. So if I go ahead and drag a node from the first stage and stick this other stage on the reference slot, we can use a prompt that goes something like this. Make an image showing 2 workers wearing black uniforms installing the wooden planks, and send it away. And right after this stage, we should see some workers sweeping the floor with the resin. So let's go right into it. Make the workers now sweeping the resin on the floor. Now let's see the installation process of the planks. And we've got these 3 versions. To be honest with you, I might not use any of them. So let's go ahead and copy the prompt. So we can click on the text here, Ctrl C to copy it. Let's get rid of all of these 3. Drag the node on the top one, which is the first stage, and then drag this wire, which is going to be our reference image, into the input slot 2. In this case, I'm going to go with 4 variations, or generations rather. I'm going to grab these nodes and arrange them to keep everything nice and organized. Now let's go ahead and see the next stage that we created. Alright, and these look great. I'm going to be using the third one. Let's delete these 2. And one stage that we are actually missing is the one where we have the workers installing the LED light. In order to create it, I'm going to be using this second stage. So let's drag it out over here. And of course, we need the reference image where we have the LED lights installed. Add workers installing the LED lights on the floor. Okay, great. Now let's check out how the installation of the floor look. And this one is the winner, I think. So let me go ahead and delete all of these 3 and stick with this one. Alright, now let's check out the installation process of the LED lights. Now one thing that we forgot about this prompt is that we only needed 2 workers and in black uniforms to keep a smooth animation. Now why are we sticking with only 2 workers? Because it's going to be helping the AI to animate only 2 people rather than 4 or 5, right? That way we can have better results. So unfortunately, we're going to be having to run this prompt again. Let's copy it, delete all of these, and do the same process with stage 2 and stage 3. Now let's not forget to mention the number of workers. Add 2 workers wearing black uniforms, installing the LED lights on the floor. Let's send it away again. While we wait for these, we need to create the 4th stage, where we are going to be having people polishing the floor. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and grab the final result, which is this one, and drag the node right over here. Let's go ahead and write the prompt. Add 2 workers wearing black uniforms polishing the floor. Let's go with 4 generations this time. And the installation of the LED lights is finally here. This one looks awesome. Let me get rid of these and let's move it over here. Okay, now let's start talking about the animation process. For the animation, we're going to start with stage 1, of course. So what we need to do is to drag the wire over here, and instead of going for image generator, we need to go with video generator. To make things easier for you, I'm going to tell you which one works the best. Now, I've tried all of these AI animation models, and the best result that I've got has been with Veo 3.1, which can also handle frames. Another thing that makes these type of animations more interesting is that they have some sound effects that are kind of like ASMR sounds, so make sure to have the sound effects on. 720p, it's gonna be enough. Alright, now that we have that set, I'm going to drag this second frame and add it right here. So we have the start image and the end image. We can even go ahead and add references, but for now we don't need that. Make sure to also change the aspect ratio to 9:16, which is for our Reels or TikTok. 4 seconds is going to be enough, but to have a more realistic movement, I would rather go with 6 seconds or even 8 seconds. Now let's write the prompt. Workers installing the wooden planks. And this is actually going to be enough for the sound effects. If you want to hear something specific, you should also add it. For example, we can go with sounds and then describe the type of sounds you want to hear, but this is going to be enough. However, Google Veo 3.1 might be the best one at generating these type of time lapses, but if I go over here, you can see that it costs 1200 credits. So keep that in mind. Let's now check out the ones at the bottom that we created before, which is the workers polishing the floor. Okay, nice. I think the first one should do. Let me delete all of these. And now we can use this same image over here. So this is going to be basically the finished polished floor. After this, it's going to be nice if we add some furniture at the end, of course. And we can do that from this base image. Add living room furniture. Let's go ahead and generate 3 of these. And we can keep on working on the animations. I'm going to go ahead and leave this node up here. And after this stage, we can grab this image, go into video generator and grab the third stage and plug it into the end image. Let's make sure that we're using Google 9:16 and it's at 4 seconds. Sound effects, as you can see by default, is off. So don't forget to turn it on. Workers finish placing the wooden planks. So for the next stage, we need to do exactly the same thing. Go into video generator, pick the third stage and use it as the end image. In this case, workers come into the scene. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see. Workers walk in and start installing LED lights. Sound effects on. And then we need a scene where the installation of the LED lights is finished. So again, video generator, end image, and we can use something like workers finish installing LED lights. And now the next stage where we have this one as our first frame and the second one where we have the workers now pouring the resin. Workers walk in with buckets and pour resin. Sound effects on. Moving on, we are almost done. Let's create another video and in this case we can see the workers sweep the floor with resin. And now our next stage would be for workers to be polishing the floor. So workers finish sweeping resin and start polishing the floor. Now because this specific action would have 2 different things to handle, like sweeping and then polishing, it would be wise to increase the length of this animation with something like 8 seconds. Now one important thing that we've been missing is that we need to see a time lapse. Even though Google Veo, it's gonna be smart enough that we need that. However, it's extremely important to add time lapse to the prompt. So time lapse of workers. And another thing that we can do is to add in the words accelerated motion. So this is something that all of our prompts must have. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to all of them. Alright, great. So now we have the final stage. In this case, I think it would be better if we remove the carpet so that we can see the floor better. So let me delete all of these and drag it over here. So it's going to be image generator with Google Nano Banana Pro. Remove the carpet. And while that's loading, let's create the next stage of our animation. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this one, video generator, and this one over here. So this is going to be Google Veo with sound effects. Workers finish polishing the floor. That's going to be enough. And now let's wait for this one to load so that we create the prompt for the last animation. And we have a different floor now. So we can use this one as a reference. So I'm going to grab the version with the carpet. And now the reference image is going to be this one. So this is the second image that we are actually placing in here. So the node already knows that this is the reference image. And here we go. Either of these are going to work just fine. So for the final stage, we need to create a video where we see the workers placing the furniture. Time lapse of workers placing the furniture. And that's it. Now you can go ahead and run all of those nodes. And once they're done, you can download them. Now it's going to be a good idea for you to number them in order, like 1, 2, 3, and so on. This way, when you import it to a video editing software, it's going to make your life a lot easier. And once we've got these, in my case, I use DaVinci Resolve. It's completely free. Once in here, you can go into the Edit tab and drag all of your animation clips onto the timeline. And the only thing left to do is to render out the animation. And here's the final result. And that's how you can create viral interior construction time-lapses using AI and Freepik's node-based system. If you want to recreate this exact video, we've uploaded the prompts, the base image, and the final AI video on our Patreon. You'll find the link in the description. And if this was useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. More AI workflows for architecture coming soon.